Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast as we continue to go through all 32 NFL scripts. And today I've got kind of a shocker for you. If you told me last year at this point in time that this is the team that's going to bring up the rear in the NFC North, I'd have said no shot. That's not what they do. And yet here we are, because today, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers and their 2023 official NFL script. Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Goldfine & Bowles, Lawyers for the Injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PlaybookSports on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video. For the first time in 31 years, for reference, I'm only 27. Before I was born, the Green Bay Packers will be entering a season where they do not have either Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers slated to be the starting quarterback. Talk about end of an era. They went one Hall of Famer to the next. This is a huge season in Green Bay, given they've got a young quarterback that they don't know a whole lot about, yet he is in his fourth year in the league already. They've got to start figuring out what he is and what he can be in this league. And they don't have the luxury of letting him develop before they have to pay him. If he performs this season, you have to make a decision. I honestly don't know. This is on me for being lazy. I don't know if they picked up his fifth-year option or not. I sure hope so, because if he goes out and balls out, you got to pay him or he's just a free agent and that's it. So they got to figure that out right away. Is he going to be the guy? Is Roger going to write them a script that gives them their third straight Hall of Fame level quarterback? Let's take a look. Week 1. They travel to the Chicago Bears, and they are going to lose in Chicago because there's no more Aaron Rodgers to point at the fans and say, I own you. They lose to the Bears, and they fall to 0-1 on the season. Tough start. Week 2, they travel to the Atlanta Falcons, where they will pick up their first win and move to 1-1 in Atlanta. That's a big win. They really needed that one. Atlanta's going to be sneaky tough this season, I think. So moving in there and getting the win is big. Week 3, they host the New Orleans Saints, where they will win yet again and move to 2-1 on the season. Big win against the Saints. Saints could be good with Derek Carr at QB. I don't know. I don't love it, but Rodgers got Green Bay beating them at home, so big win for them there. They then play Thursday Night Football, and that is hosting the Detroit Lions. And they're going to lose to the Lions for, the third straight time after I think they got swept by them last year. Third straight loss to the Detroit Lions as they fall back to 2-2. But fortunately, they're given kind of a long time off after the Thursday night game. They don't play again until Monday Night Football, where they will travel to Las Vegas and take on the Raiders. Well, they'll get their third win of the season and move to 3-2 on the year. Then they move right into their bye, which is kind of an early bye. I don't know. I've said in several videos I'd much prefer a middle of the season bye, like a week. I think week 9 to 12 is kind of the sweet spot for a bye. This is week 6, so pretty early, but that's okay. You get what you get. You don't get upset. Moving on, they travel to Denver in Mile High, and they're going to lose to the Broncos in Denver, as Denver is much improved. Their defense is still going to be electric. Their offense, hopefully improved with Sean Payton, will do what they were supposed to do last year, and they're going to beat the Green Bay Packers in Denver. And that will drop them to 3-3 on the young season. Then they will host the Minnesota Vikings, where they will get their first divisional win of the season, as Minnesota just isn't able to put up the points on them as they should. It's kind of a surprising loss for the Vikings because I'm sure the Vikings consider themselves way better than the Packers. But the Packers get the win and move to 4-3 on the year, back above 500. And hosting a team next that is not good in the Los Angeles Rams, and yet Rodgers got them losing a heartbreaking loss for the Green Bay Packers at home against a Rams team that is just no good at all. Oh, that one hurts. That kind of shows you how far the Green Bay Packers have fallen at this point, as that drops them back down to 500 and a game that they have to have penciled in as a win. That one is brutal. Then they travel to Pittsburgh, kind of an up-and-coming team here, and they are going to lose again as they fall to Pittsburgh, falling a game below 500 once again. And hoping to bounce back next week as they will then host the Chargers. and they will lose again as they are in the middle of a 3-game losing streak, hoping to get off the slide, but it just doesn't look like that schedule gets much easier. Man, this is a tough schedule for the Packers. This is not pretty, as they then, for Thanksgiving, will go to Detroit. And Detroit's just too good for them again. They're just a better team this season and last season, as Detroit knocks off the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving. Oh, man, they are in trouble. That's 4 straight losses for your Green Bay Packers. I couldn't tell you how many times they did that with Rodgers. Not many. And then following up that game, they host the reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, who are just going to mop the floor with them and knock them off, as they have now had 5 straight losses. Man, tough run for the Packers here. They're going to look to get off the schneid on Monday Night Football as they travel to the New York Giants, where they lose once again. That's 6 straight losses for the Packers, as the wheels have completely fallen off at this point in the season. The defense can't stop anybody, and the offense isn't putting up enough points. To be fair, of those 6 straight losses, 4 of them, now I guess the Lions didn't make the playoffs last year, but the Lions are likely to make the playoffs this year. Giants were in them last year. Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Chargers made it. Pittsburgh they are above 500 every single season, and then the Rams stink, but that's a tough loss. So 6 straight losses for the Packers that is brutal to see. That is brutal to see. But it looks like they finally get back in the win column as they get an easier matchup and they get to host the Buccaneers, a Florida team coming to Lambeau on December 17th. And the Packers finally get back in the win column as there are celebrations in the streets. And the celebrations will continue as Christmas Eve they travel to Carolina, where they will beat the Carolina Panthers. I do think in this one, LaFleur's coaching is kind of the key deciding factor here. They're the more experienced team, and they are going up against a rookie quarterback and a team with a lot of holes in it. And then they go to Minnesota for they're there on New Year's Eve. They will take on the Minnesota Vikings, where they will lose yet again, only having 1 win within the division still at this point. That is a tough one, as the Vikings are obviously trying to fight for that division. If you haven't watched the Vikings script video or the Lions script video at this point, go watch those. Spoiler alert, the Vikings are in the midst of a winning streak, and the Lions are in the midst of a losing streak, setting up a fantastic Week 18 NFC North Championship game. And the Vikings are just red hot at this point in the season, and they get the win over the Packers, dropping the Packers down to, I believe, 6-10 at this point. Man, that is tough to see. But it is the Packers, well, not really the last laugh here, I shouldn't say that, because finishing 7-10 is not great, but they will beat the Chicago Bears in Lambeau to finish the season, just as kind of a win that doesn't matter for them because they're bad. I mean, they're 6-10 going into the game, finishing the year 7-10, whatever. Honestly, they probably hope to lose, but their pride will not let them lose every divisional game except for one at that point throughout the season. I mean, their only win was against the Vikings back in October. They cannot go 1-5, so they get the win there, and they do go 2-4 in the division and finish with a final record of 7-10. Not what you want to see, Packers fans. It really isn't. But to be fair, it was only a game worse than what they did last year, and they really couldn't do a whole lot this offseason. Go watch the Packers offseason video I put out. I hate what I've seen out of them. Just disappointment after disappointment. And it's going to feed over into the season because Love is like a rookie, if you think about it. I don't know how many games he's played exactly. It's not a lot. He's more or less a rookie. So they need to start hitting on their draft picks if they want to be competitive once again in the near future. They need to help their quarterback because they don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback to cover up these roster holes anymore. And they kind of were shown last year as Rodgers maybe took a step back in his abilities and the roster holes just reared their ugly head and the team just couldn't get it done last year. That rolls again because they cannot be saved by him, and Jordan Love is not ready to be that guy. They need to develop better and start drafting better if they want to get back to their winning ways. Those winning ways will not happen this season. 7-10, last in the division. Not great, Green Bay. But that's all I've got for you guys on the Green Bay Packers 2023 NFL script. Make sure you give the socials a follow at the Playbook Sports Pod on Twitter and at Playbook_sports on TikTok. On the TikTok account, our boy Steve has been giving out bets every single day on his journey to 500 bets in the calendar year of 2022. Go give them a follow. Go give our Twitters a follow. And just stay tuned for more and more content as we keep pumping out these scripts. We're getting close to the end here, and we're getting close to football, boys. I cannot wait. We will see you all in the next one.